Hiya and welcome to the Come Together Hub podcast. I'm Matty and I'm here with Nicola, and we're just going to do just a little. We're just going to talk a little bit about the birth of Come Together and the development of it,
Special.
and how it kind of all come about really. Do you remember the conversation what we had?
I always remember the conversation.
What year would that have been in?
2021, the start of
Yeah.
the start of 2021. We sat in a living
room.
a group
Yeah.
living room, and I think we were talking about like how there's sometimes not enough to like do in like recovery, and how we have all these options, don't we, to like you go into detox or a treatment, and then what happens after. And we said, wouldn't it be great
Festival.
if, and this is just how it started, wouldn't it be great if there was like a big festival that happened where like everyone who was like in some sort of recovery could come and just have this amazing day and realise that like life is so much better without, you know, the gaps that we're trying to fill with dangerous things, you know, whatever it may be for you. And that was like about 4 months before you then
Yeah, I think
started putting it into practice.
I think what it was around the end of July. I just kind of thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna do something, because I knew this is what I knew. I knew some people who talked a lot about doing some stuff, and because of their lives and how busy they was, they just never got round to doing anything. And I knew that I was gonna fall into that trap of like just having an idea, but not really, nothing was gonna come from it unless I did something about it. And after a couple of conversations, because I spoke a lot about, and this is what I found out, is like that I couldn't do that alone, and like every step of the way, someone's been there to like help out, you know. So there's we don't just have groups, do we, where we get a venue and like people turn up. That's like the bread and butter of the organisation, but it was all like the background stuff, you know, like the liability insurance and creating websites and you know, like just loads of like nitty gritty stuff that kind of just fell into place over time. And
I think as well, like, because we started off, didn't we, with like, the first thing we wanted to do really was we found a local venue from a community centre, and we were like, right, what do we need? Well, volunteers, because we were volunteers essentially, do you know what I mean? And we basically put it out there and asked people to like not have faith in what we were doing, because we weren't an organisation then. We were saying to people, have faith in us as people. And because we were so passionate about helping people create a life in recovery that's not just sometimes sitting there and talking about our problems, getting out, building relationships, like it is like we ask people, and it's a hard thing to ask people when they don't know you, like believe in us as people. But all it happened was a few people did it, you know what I mean? A few people were like, you know what, I'll give it a try. And then they would ask other people to believe in them and bring them on as volunteers. And then I think that's when we started looking at the groups, and we changed loads of stuff, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had to like, we did things, it didn't work.
And that's the thing, innit? It's about like getting stuff wrong like early doors. You know, like making loads of mistakes like early on, so we wasn't falling into like traps of like continuously just like making loads of, and we still make mistakes, of course we do, everyone does, but you know, like we're just still learning. So we'll be like in August, 28th of August, that's our official date, 2021. So this year it'll be like the fourth, coming into the fourth year. And when we did the timetable the other day, well, Nina did it, the timetable. And when we looked at like the groups and the activities, what we had, there's like 13 things a week that we run. Do you know what I mean? Like
Huge.
Across like different community centres. And community centres are like great places to access, because they're cheap, and usually at the heart of like the community. Do you know what I mean? So I've always found them like really good places, and they're like a dying thing, aren't they? Like, you know, like, or they was, you know, like I think it's got a little bit better.
I think community, what we both believe in, in this organisation is like community has almost become a dying thing.
Yeah.
You
that's-
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
were like, we want to show people that is valuable still, and it's not just valuable. Like, it's one of the big ways to improve your life through like a social model of living in it.
Yeah.
And we both follow quite a social model of recovery. I think, like, you know, we both have different things that we do in our recovery. But for me, and I think for you, the heart of it is connection, community, other people. I mean, I can't believe it's 13 groups now,
Yeah.
and then like
Well,
everything else
the
we're
thing
doing.
is based on like my own recovery journey. Is like this. I hear people say this all the time, and it like really like annoys me a little bit. But I can't try and keep my opinions to myself about it. But people say all the time, "Oh, I'm just doing too much," and I just think, what does that even mean? Like, I'm doing too much. Like I'm like busy, mate. Like active. Like, you know, I do like a lot, and that's not. I don't want a medal for that. You know, like fucking. But like, I keep myself back because I know it's good for me, and my experience has brought that out over time. Do you know what I mean? So like, the more time I spend with myself, the more like. I suffer with the disease of addiction, you know what I mean? That's not like a pity shout. I'm fucking grateful for it. I used to hate it when people said that, because accepting that gave me an acceptance that there's a different way of living. Do you know what I mean? And the more time I spend on my own, the more traction that disease has, the more separated it become from the community, people who help me to recover, you know, and like and trying to get it across to people that attending groups or going up on like social activities and stuff like that, it's really fucking difficult in early recovery, because
100%.
we're so like in tune with fucking the disease, and like everything attaches to us, you know, like that's a false reality. So like someone will look at us and will think, what was he looking at? You know what I mean? You know, like, or a girl will look at you and you're like, fucking, she loves me. You know, like, we're fucking so far removed from the fucking, from the reality of things. And it's like, other people become like a mirror for me. You know, like, so like when I have these conversations with people, like my friends and people in recovery, they'll just go, what are you on about? You know what I mean? She doesn't love you.
It is a reality check, isn't it? And do you know, I was saying to John before, earlier, we were talking about Come Together Hub and like, what is it? You know what I mean? I said for me, it's like, it is definitely a big gap filler for, like, you know, if you look at like institutions as like a circle, I look at us as sitting in the middle, because they serve a purpose in terms of treatment for things, but then what happens after? Where do people go? Where do they build a life? Like that social model at the bottom being things like interpersonal relationships. And I said, the one thing I've realised, not just from Come Together Hub, my own recovery, is that beautiful thing, and I think we're creating that here, is not only do I not have to do things alone, I don't want to. Whereas I used to want to, almost as a punishment. And Come Together Hub, like, people come because they now want to do things together. They want to be a group. We want to be community. You know what I mean? Because it's now like life doesn't have to just get better after you've faced adversity. Life is fucking good as well. Really good when you do stuff like this, when you fill yourself with things that remind you that you don't have to do it alone.
And I think like that, what's happened, what happens in our lives is based on like what we have, what like the vision, what we have for the future. Do you know what I mean? You know, so that idea was just the vision that would have faded over time without any like positive action. You know, and like we talk all the time because we like work together and stuff, but like, you know, like often like people will have an idea about areas of their lives in which they can change, but often don't have someone to like lead them in that direction. Do you know what I mean? So we know this could change, we know that could change, but I'm just going to settle for it, because change becomes something that we fear because it's the unknown and we're not too sure of the outcomes of what that change will be. But staying as we are, we're almost certain of the outcomes because we live and breathe that like day in, day out. You know what I mean? So like, if I didn't like have some courage, and it wasn't of mine, you know, like I didn't have the courage alone to do stuff. But if I've never found that, I would have never have stepped out of myself and going to meetings, going to groups, you know, like rehab. I remember going to rehab and like just thinking, my head just screaming at me, going, "Fucking don't go." Do you know what I mean? And it was
Same.
because it was something different.
Yeah.
You know, and it was fear
We
that was
like
stopping me.
we like to know the outcome, but even if the outcome's bad, and that's what I think
Yeah.
you said it then. Like we needed to have the courage. Like that's come together, Hub, isn't it? Like because we had the courage, because we came together to do it, because we sat in that room in that recovery group and had that conversation and looked at each other and thought, well, it's not so scary if we have to go through this change together.
But and that thing of like the distortion of the familiarity and comfort in just staying as we are, like will just absolutely like keep us there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's we know what it is, and it's the unknown that we're fearful of. And like, you know, I know like we don't tend to do long chats around this stuff, and we are gonna wind it up now. But like coming into our 4th year, I mean, on Monday you started in a full-time role. It's like that just like blows my mind. That like I was talking to my sister the other night, and I was like, I've just actually employed someone as a manager, and I'm like now responsible to make sure that she gets paid at the end of the month. And fucking, and I'm like speed dialing with the accountants and stuff, and fucking getting these, you know. But it's all good stuff, and like this is just like the start. I look into the camera and say this, like this is just like the very beginning, you know. Like we've been recognised as something in St Helens by the council, and now we're getting support from them. From Canalf Insulation, we get support from Halton St Helens BCA, loads of different communities. Too many people to mention, really, so
National
not mentioned yet. You know, like don't feel like thinking we appreciate everyone, but more than that, like what I appreciate is like there's about 10 people in this room today. Like appreciate every one of you, not just for coming, but for stepping out of yourselves and doing something that we know is difficult, you know, and we believe in you and we believe in ourselves, and like we're getting better every day.
And we do it together.
Together,
We do it together. Together.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
yeah, thanks for listening. We'll probably do some more about this stuff when some more things come up. But yeah, if you can please like, share and subscribe. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But like if you want to, just do it.
Thanks, guys.